everyone, hope you're having a great Wednesday so far. My name is Sarah Fairclough and I'm the Business Administrator for our Platform Solutions team here at SmartSimple. Today, Stephen's going to be talking to you more about one of our SmartSimple integrations with HCAI.
Hi everyone, my name is Stephen Makingo. I'm going to be talking about SmartSimple integrations, HCAI and service providers.
And just a couple housekeeping items before we jump into the presentation. We are going to be sending out a recording of the webinar within a week. So just keep a lookout in your inboxes and you'll see it there. And additionally, we are going to be having a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So if you want, feel free to post your questions throughout, but we'll be answering them after the demo.
All right, so today, as we said earlier, we're going to be talking about SmartSimple's integrations, HCAI and service providers. As I stated before, my name is Stephen Makingo. I'm a platform solutions manager here at SmartSimple. I've been with SmartSimple for about 7 years. I deal with anything in regards to IMEs, insurance, as well as research and grant management and so forth. So definitely, this is one of my sectors, and I'm glad to help anyone if they have any questions after the presentation. So the overview, what to expect. So in this webinar, we will show you some of the possibilities of the SmartSimple HCAI health claims for auto insurance submission integration, as well as the ability to integrate third-party service providers, such as transportation and translation services. So an overview of the actual the problems and solutions with HCAI and service provider integrations. So typically the problem would be that you're having to send HCAI submissions through the HCAI website. So you would have to log into the HCAI website, enter in all your details and information, and then once you're in there, you would have to rewrite, or you'd have to enter in all the data as in regards to billing information, insurance company information, or your own IME information, etc. So it is very tedious going into the website, logging out, logging in, submitting all the information, and then clicking submit, and then as well as submitting requests for third-party services, in regards to providers through the phone or their own websites, as a transportation company or a translation company, you would have to log into their website, enter in all the data, time frames, dates, languages that the client is using, etc. So all that information is going to make your employees or the person that's submitting all the data, it's going to make their process longer than needed. So it is time consuming. It is, a little bit more difficult because you have to log out, log back in, and then you got to log back into SmartSimple and do all the back and forth through the different, systems that you're submitting the claims for HCAI, as well as translation and transportation. The solution is using the HCAI and service provider integration through SmartSimple now, and you can cut time consuming the process in half. So basically, this will save you so much time and so much effort because now with the integration for HCAI and transportation and translation third-party services, you can do it all in one shot. And I'll show you in the demo exactly what I mean. So basically, you'll be able to just enter in all the data within SmartSimple. It's going to have all the recorded data that you need for submitting the billing to HCAI, as well as submitting it to transportation and translation, and it's all done in one shot. So you don't have to log into their websites. You don't have to log into log in, enter in all the detailed information all over again, and then submit it. So it's very quick, easy to use as well. Why should your company use this feature? So the benefits is the ability to send and receive billing to HCAI through SmartSimple in one shot. So as I explained, everything is all done within SmartSimple itself. So you don't have to go into another website, which is the HCAI website or the transportation and translation website. You can just go directly through SmartSimple and have it all done in one shot. The ability to send requests to third-party service providers, such as transportation and translation. So as I explained as well, you have all the information already embedded in the system in SmartSimple, so there's no need to re-enter that data that will be time consuming. As well, it's the information within SmartSimple is encrypted and secure. It's an electronic transmission between the systems, so meaning that all the information and all the data, it's secured within SmartSimple, and it's encrypted and so forth. So now you don't have to worry about the data not being saved or stored properly or anything as well. And as I said, you're able to send SmartSimple data based on billing or appointment scheduling to HCAI and or third-party service providers, which are transportation and translation. So now I'm going to do the SmartSimple HCAI submission integration, as well as show you the integration for transportation and translation. I am going to provide you some sort of basic info on how to configure, as well as how to investigate if you have any issues, just like a simple way of investigating, and as well try to see if we can, provide some solution or resolve some of the common issues that are experienced when you get error message for HCAI. I am logged into our demo instance. Can everyone see my screen? It should be the MFR demo instance. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so as any IME system, or as any system that's open, you would typically log in, and so now here, this is just a demo instance that we have. I'm just going to go into a case or a claim that an IME would have. So bear with me. Okay, so this is just an example for you to see in regards to the process, and as well any information. And I'll show you some of the configuration as well after I've done both of the short demos. So for translation and transportation, basically you would find that in the services section of your referral or claim. So basically this would be your referral. You would have all the information filled out, any claimant information, any referral information, any languages, etc. So all that's typically stored on your claim, on your referral/claim. So when you go to your services and you create a new service, here is where you would have all your information in regards to the actual service as well. So if it's what kind of service it is, the status of the service, if there's the location, etc. So as well as the service date and time, and language, etc. So all that's in the service section. So for transportation and translation, typically we create a section that's called order third-party services, but these sections and these fields are done. However, when we have a build through an RFS, we can definitely do it in any way you would like and put whatever verbiage you would like as well too. But typically we would put it within a tab, and there we set up some information in regards to some instructions on how to use it. There you would see that there are some fields that some might require, meaning that you have like how many numbers of trips, any details, return address, same as pickup. So when doing the configuration or integration for the transportation and translation, we typically have a base set of fields that we use. So these are there, but I mean, you can always add as many fields as you would like in regards to your own personal use, but typically we have a base format of it. So in regards to transportation and translation, we do have a couple of companies that we do work with already. We do with transportation and translation, we work with Rapid City, we work with Able, we work with Exacta, as well as we work with All Languages. There are, I mean, if there's anyone I missed, definitely I'll on our website, on our wiki page, there you'll have a list of all the different providers as well too. So as an example, the integration is based on once you choose what kind of service provider. As an example, you could choose Exacta or any type of service provider. So you would click on it, and then basically here it'll give you whether the option of having a transportation or translation. So Once that is done, you would click on the transportation. And as you can see, all these fields are populated based on the referral information. So, if there's any insurance information, if there's any, associated email, also the file number, and all this, and all the date and time of the appointment, the location of where the appointment will be going to. So all these sections and all these fields are pretty much pre-populated from the system itself. So with transportation and translation, it's all embedded in there. And then once you just, if you want to confirm, or if you want to see if you miss anything, definitely like you can check the fields and go back and reference whatever field you need to update. And basically once that is complete, then you just go ahead and click submit. Now, when you click on submit, what this does is that this will send all the information that's already embedded within the system straight to the transportation or translation company that you would like to send it over to, and then they'll receive all the information. And I guess they would obviously make the appointment, set the date or whatever, and then at the end of when you submit it, you'll receive a confirmation number. So it'll be a page that has just the reference or confirmation number. And then once that's stored, then you'll have the transportation or interpretation confirmation number, and it'll automatically store within this field itself. And that's pretty much it in regards to transportation and translation. If there's any other questions you had in regards to them, definitely just send us a question at the end of the demo. But that's and as well, I'll give you a brief information in regards to like how this is done and so forth. Now, in regards to HCAI submissions. So with HCAI submissions, HCAI is based off billing. So you would be sending your billing information from your system straight to HCAI itself. So if they're, based on the service type, the amount that's needed and so forth. So the system's already when I guess you would like to go ahead and incorporate this into your system for submitting HCAI billing to HCAI through SmartSimple, definitely we'll set up the basic process and we'll give you some of the information that you require through there. So as an example here, you have all your information for your referral. So then you would create, as I said before, a service. And when you're creating a service here, you would have to fill out all the information and all the data that's needed in regards to the service itself. And then once you create, once all the information is stored, and then I guess the service has been completed and you're ready to go to billing, then that's when you would create a new service activity, which would be part of the billing process. So when you create a service activity, there you would have to submit the information. So what type of service activity it is. We have pretty much everything is preloaded in the list. You'd submit all the if there's billing within MIG or PAF, the date that you've entered it. If there what the gap code is for that section, for that billing process, as well if there's any other measures and the rates. If you don't have anything rated or pre-rated, then you can manually enter it. And then once you're done there, you click on save. And then once you're done that, you make sure everything is correct. Then you would click on ready for billing. Once you click on ready for billing, what this does is that it would create a service activity, which it goes here. So this will create a service activity, and then it'll confirm the status from submitted to invoiced. And so now when it's ready to be invoiced, then you would just go ahead and submit the invoice through the referral. So that being said, you would have to go back to the referral, and within the referral, you would go to what is called the accounting section in the referral. And in the accounting section, you'll see that there is a like here, because we've got this ready for the demo. But typically, you would be able to click on new invoice, and it'll create a new invoice based off the invoice that has been submitted to to be ready to be invoiced. So as I said, because this is pre-done, I'll just show you exactly now the invoice here. So here it'll give you an invoice number, you'd have an issue date, and it'll give you the same, same questions in regards to whether it's a first invoice, last invoice, what type of plan it is, and if there's any other information, if you have any invoice comments, etc. And then all the information that you've done within the service activity is stored in that section. So all you have to do would basically be, as long as everything is confirmed with all the data, you're ready to go ahead and submit this invoice. So to submit the invoice, you would have to go into, the OCF 21B, which is a submission for it. You'd click on open. And then here, when you're on the submission for submission to HCAI for the OCF 21B, you'd have four different options. You have the preview, which basically gives you a preview of all the information that you're going to be sending to HCAI, as well as you have the submit this form. So what the submit this form does is it just automatically, it'll submit the actual form. So it'll submit all the data that you've put it within the form to HCAI through the system. Refresh is basically when you're once you submit the form, there's a status section here that says, submitted to HCAI, or it'll say, approved, it'll say declined, it'll say error, it'll give you the status. So if you want to refresh the status to see what the current status is, then definitely that would be the button to push to refresh the page to see what the status is of the submission to HCAI. And here you have the preview form. So what the preview form does, it just gives you, if you wanted to print your print your HCAI submission for your own records, then definitely you can go ahead and print it. And basically this document will provide all the details in regards to the submission itself. So now, as well, to just to remind everyone that when submitting to HCAI, that there is a submission time frame that can vary between 0 to 120 minutes. So when you send a submission into HCAI, there will be the status will update depending on how many submissions are being sent over. So if it could take from 0 to 120 minutes. Typically, it could be fast, and sometimes if there's so many submissions within a certain time frame, it could delay the process itself. So it gives you that warning just to let you know that maybe you're waiting for about 10-15 minutes and it hasn't been submitted. Then that's just letting you know that sometimes it does take a little longer based on the time that the submissions are going in. So, and that's pretty much it. So once, it gives you all the information here in regards to what kind of form it is, what time was created, who submitted or who created it, as well as the status of it, the response and cancel time, HCAI status, HCAI was modified and canceled by. So all these fields or all these sections populate based off the data that gets sent over. So it's basically a recording all the communication between HCAI and SmartSimple. So your knowledge and up to date on regards to what the communication and what the statuses are. So, and typically you're looking for statuses here to see what the status is at. And that's pretty much it for HCAI in regards to the process and what you need to do and how you submit and so forth. And as well too here, depending on your system, there is a HCAI response section. So here these will update every single time the updates come in. So if there was a submission that was sent out, it'll give you the response, whether it was approved, declined, or anything. So you don't have to always keep going to your HCAI submission list and seeing what the status is. Once it's complete, it'll show you right here as well too. So that's pretty much the HCAI, I guess, section and in regards to the HCAI submission. So now I'm going to go into the configuration and some sort of like investigation to see what if there's an issue, resolve any common issues. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you some of that. So in regards to the transportation and translation, to be honest with you, the transportation and translation is already embedded into the system. So when we typically do the configuration and the integration for transportation and translation, we would be doing the configuration, so we know exactly, you know, what needs to be changed, what needs to be added, what needs to be updated. The only thing that we would change in regards to the configuration or the integration part would probably be just adding a couple of extra fields. So within, you know, with a backend part of it, there's not really much that we can show you in regards to like the configuration part of it. It's pretty much, if you want to add more fields to these sections, you know, anything that you want to record for yourselves, for your organization, then we'd pretty much add all these fields. But if not, depending on, you know, which transportation and which transportation company and which translation company, we would add whichever ones you would like. So we'll provide you with a list, and you tell us which ones you prefer, which ones you don't prefer, and so forth. So that's pretty much, and it's all configured within the level, within the service part of the system. Now, in regards to HCAI. So in regards to HCAI, there is a section here that we typically configure. So when you're doing the configuration, like if you need, you know, if there's an error, an issue that you want to, you know, investigate to find out, definitely give us a call, as we will recommend that you let us know if there's any changes that you want to be done, and we can definitely assist you with that if you already have it in the system. But for you to configure it into your system, it is a bit of a process, as well as there is some configuration that we would be doing in regards to setting up some of the data, you know, some key components and so forth. So, but like I said, if there is any configuration that you wanted to, you know, check out to see how it works and so forth, you would go to your configuration settings, and there you would go to your connectivity. And then here in your connectivity, you would find that there's a section called Enable HCAI Integrations, and here would be the HCAI settings. So there would basically have all your information in regards to HCAI. You know, if there's any fields you want to update, any of the mapping, it's all typically here. But definitely, like I said, we recommend that you before you make any changes or before you add anything to that section, we definitely recommend that you definitely give us a call, and then we'll go ahead and investigate, or we'll definitely help you out with any of those changes. Another thing I would say in regards to resolving common issues, typically there isn't too many issues in regards to the translation and transportation. You know, it's pretty straightforward when you're submitting the transportation and translation to, you know, if there's any issues, it's typically an issue that's primarily within the system itself, or like, I guess, the communication part of SmartSimple and the transportation and translation. But in regards to fields or in regards to error messages, there typically won't be any error messages that you can resolve. So you can definitely give us a call, you know, and any one of our supports can create a ticket or raise a ticket to see if they can investigate what the issue would be. Another issue sometimes might be that maybe some data is missing. So typically these are the certain sections that need to be submitted to the transportation and translation company. Something that might be missing, let's say, is the file number, maybe as well a return, the location, the address. So those can cause some issues. So we would definitely recommend that you make sure that all fields and all these sections are populated with the correct information before sending the submission. And in regards to HCAI, I would say that, let me just go back to the HCAI section. So in regards to HCAI, what I would definitely recommend is for, you know, investigating or resolving some common issues would be here within the status itself. Typically you would get a error message here. If you sent the submission in and you get an error message, it'll populate here. And then what you would do is you would click on this status, and in the status itself, there is a section here that's called response. So here the status will say, you know, error message, and then the response typically gives you a lot of data. It's very hard because you need to, you know, you need to go through all the information in the response. But primarily the error messages will tell you somewhat of what the error is. So as an example here, what we typically get is an error message saying ensure IBC branch ID is incorrect or missing. So within the actual error message itself, it would give you this, I guess this section, and it'll say error, and it'll say equals, you know, insured underscore IBC branch ID, semicolon or colon, and it'll say missing ID number. And so it kind of guides you in regards to what the issue might be or where the error is in order for you to correct it. So then what you would typically do is you would go back to, you know, whatever the insurance company ID is and so forth, and then make the correction, and then you would go back to the the OCF 21, and then you would go ahead and resubmit the form. So then when you resubmit it, you know, you'd go ahead and wait for a response, and then it'll tell you whether it's been approved or declined, etc. So so that's pretty much how you would typically investigate an HCAI error. Now, so in regards to the demo, that pretty much completes the demo part of it. And now, as I said, if you have any questions, or if you have any additional questions that you have, you can go ahead and let me just go back and so if you have any questions, definitely go ahead and submit them, and then we'll definitely help you.
Great, thanks so much, Stephen. So our first question: if I get an error when submitting to HCAI, where can I see what the error is?
I guess my apologies. Definitely, it's where I showed you previously. So let me just go back. So in that section that shows the let me just go back. So here exactly where it shows the status of it. So in the status, you would go to the response, and the response, like I said, would definitely give you the information in regards to, you know, what section of the submission has the error. So it'll tell you exactly, like it'll pinpoint basically the field or the section that has the issue. It'll just say, you know, and it gives you a small sample of missing first name or missing last name, or policy number incorrect. And so then you'd have to go back to the actual claim, and then you'd have to update the information, or you'd correct it, or, you know, whatever you need to do.
Is the OCF 21 the only form I can submit to HCAI?
No, that's actually a great question. No, it's actually not. We do have the OCF 21B that is the that you can submit, and we as well introduced the Form 1. Unfortunately, I don't have it configured in the system currently, but I think, you know, IMEs and insurance companies definitely know what the Form 1 is. But that's also a new type of submission that you can submit to HCAI through SmartSimple. So definitely, if you have any questions on the Form 1s, you can definitely give us a call or send us an email, and we can definitely give you some information, as well as any questions you have in regards to configuring it. We'll definitely do through an RFS and configure that Form 1 for you as well. Thank you.
Great. And can we add other transportation and translation companies to SmartSimple aside from the ones in the system?
You could definitely, we could definitely add them, but obviously or you can send us some recommendations for IMEs. Definitely, there are different companies that have transportation and translation companies that I guess we don't have in our system as of yet. But if you do have any recommendations, or you do have any requests in regards to some of the companies that you would like to find out, send us an email and let us know the company, and definitely, they can reach out to us and let us know if they would like to be integrated through SmartSimple, and we can definitely go ahead and talk to the appropriate the appropriate people within SmartSimple in order to get the configuration, see if we can if it's feasible, as well as getting it done, or we can start the ball and see how that goes.
Great, thanks so much. So that's all the questions we have right now. So like Steven said, if anybody has any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us and email us at businesssolutions@smartsimple.com. And like we said, we'll be sending out a recording of this webinar, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great week.